Utah is a state of natural wonders that will leave it even the most experienced traveler awestruck. With 5 national parks and so many other places to see, the state of Utah rewards its visitors and its residents with millions of acres of stunning vistas of sandstone arches, vast canyons and valleys, lush mountains, and otherworldly salt flats. And while the Beehive State has been one of the most popular destinations for visitors, including in 2022 and 2023, and bringing in more than 15 million visitors each year, it's even more popular with the residents and the people that choose to make the state of Utah their home. U.S. Census numbers from 2010 up to 2020 reveal that Utah was the #1 fastest growing state during that time for so many obvious reasons, and that was largely due to in-state migration. The state's #1 ranked economy in the country is also a massive draw. Utah ranks #1 in the nation for economic growth, with manufacturing, tech, real estate, and scientific and technical services as the largest employers. So when people choose to move to Utah, where do they want to settle down? And more importantly, where are the top 9 places to live in the state of Utah in 2024? And in this video, I'm going to break it down. All right, if we haven't met yet, my name is Scott Steele, and I absolutely love helping people discover all things Utah, including Utah real estate. And as a licensed agent here, I'm here to help you. And I get people reaching out to me through texts and phone calls and emails on a regular basis looking to make the move here to Utah. And oftentimes they're coming from other states and even other countries. And ultimately, it's my mission to serve and help as many people that are making that move to this beautiful state that I choose to call home. So if that's you, if you're looking to make that move, please hit me up in the comments, shoot me a text, send me an email, or give me a call. You can find my contact information down in the description below or pinned in the comments on this very video. And as always, I'm the one that responds to those calls and those texts. So please reach out if I can help. I would love to be a service to you. All right, let's get started with the top 9 places to live in the state of Utah. And I'm saving one for last, particularly for one of my viewers, somebody who reached out to me and gave me a phone call. And this was a really great conversation, and I personally love this last place. So stay tuned if you want to hear about what the #1 best place to live in the state of Utah is, according to so much data, but also people that are reaching out to me in real time. All right, first up is Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is my hometown. It's one of my favorite places in the state, and there's so many things to do and see and experience right here in the capital city of the Beehive State. I personally go to Salt Lake City on a regular basis for so many reasons. One of my favorite reasons is the best places to eat in the state of Utah, definitely, in my opinion, are in Salt Lake City. But also, as a lifelong Utah Jazz fan, if I want to go to a basketball game or if I want to catch a musical or a play, Eccles Theater is a really big attraction. But there's so many other things to see and experience in Salt Lake City as well. And Salt Lake City is one of the few cities in the country in terms of the urban downtown area that has experienced the most amount of growth. In fact, over a 24-month period, the number of residential units in downtown Salt Lake City doubled. And as I've driven through downtown and looked at the skyline, all you see is construction and cranes because so many new buildings are going up, so much redevelopment is happening. And for people that are from Utah, this is kind of cool because, and during the decades before, we haven't seen this type of growth. And it's kind of like seeing your hometown, your home city, kind of grow up. It's gone from a small city to kind of a mid-sized city, and it kind of feels cool. And it still feels small enough, but now you have more things that you can see, go to, experience, and offers some of the amenities and the things that you might find in a bigger city. One little bonus fact about Salt Lake City is we did host the 2002 Winter Olympics here in Salt Lake City, and it looks like Utah is very likely going to get the 2034 Winter Games as well. So that's probably going to be another big injection of growth for the state of Utah, just like happened in 2002. Okay, next up on the list is one of the favorite destinations for people coming to visit and experience Utah, and that is Park City. Park City is a short drive from downtown Salt Lake as well as Salt Lake International Airport, and you can be from the airport in Park City up in the mountains within 45 minutes to an hour, and that's really cool. You can be right in the heart of Old Town Park City, or maybe it's the outskirts of Park City, and there are so many mountains around the city that provide really cool places to go see and visit and experience. There's several draws in Park City, but obviously the #1 thing that attracts people to Park City is the skiing. Skiing and snowboarding in Park City is a massive attraction, with Deer Valley, Park City Mountain Resort, and the canyons all located right in the small small mountain town of Park City. There's another big attraction, and that happens each and every year, and that's the Sundance Film Festival. I would highly recommend, if you haven't made it to the Sundance Film Festival and you have the opportunity to participate, you should. It's fun. It's a great experience. And with that said, let's move on to the number 3 best place to live in the state of Utah. And this one showed up on a lot of lists in all of my research, and it might shock some of the locals here, but that is Sandy, Utah. Sandy sits in the suburbs of Salt Lake City, just south of downtown. You can kind of make it from Sandy up to downtown within 15, maybe 20 minutes on I-15. It's a quick drive up to downtown, but the nice thing about Sandy is it sits on the east side of I-15, tucked up against the mountains, and it provides a really good proximity to the best canyons, in my opinion, for skiing and snowboarding, and that is Big Cottonwood and the Little Cottonwood Canyon. You'll see more snow, and the best snow, fall at Brighton and Alta and Snowbird and Solitude. These 4 ski resorts are a massive draw. In fact, most of the people that I talk to that come to Utah to experience the snow and the skiing and the sports, they prefer going to Alta and Snowbird or Solitude or Brighton over the Park City Resort for so many reasons. I believe that the biggest reason is that those resorts get over 500 inches of snow per year, and that's far more than what Park City gets. In fact, this last year in 2023, the winter that we've never experienced before, they got over 900 inches. This draw is a major reason why Sandy is such a great place. But it's more than just that. Sandy's a bigger city, it's got a bigger footprint, and with that comes a little bit more of a city center concept. There's more office buildings there, but one of my favorite attractions in Sandy is the Hell Center Theater. We have really incredible talent here in Utah for musicals and plays. If that's your thing, Hell Center Theater in Sandy is a phenomenal place to go check out, and it really appeals to people who live on the south end of the valley, which is a lot of families, a lot of people that want to go experience those things. It's great to go check it out. And next up on the list is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Utah, and that's Saratoga Springs. Saratoga Springs sits just south of Salt Lake County on the north end of Utah County, right up against Utah Lake. Saratoga Springs has been one of the fastest growing cities in Utah for many years, and it still sits in the top 10 for the most growth currently right now, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So why would you want to live in Saratoga Springs? Number one, the thing that sticks out to me the most is everything's new. The neighborhoods are new, the shopping areas are new, everything's pretty new, and they're extending a freeway, the Mountain View corridor, right down into Saratoga Springs to give better relief to the traffic that's occurring because of all this growth. So I would say that the fact that everything is so new in Saratoga Springs, it's really appealing for people that want to go move to a new development in a new neighborhood where everything's kind of a fresh start, and people and families really tend to like that. You can be in the city or the airport within 35 minutes or so. It's not bad, it's pretty close, and I think for that reason alone, it's experiencing so much of the growth that it's seeing. Okay, so next up is a place near and dear to my heart. It's the place where I currently reside and have lived for nearly 8 years now, and that is Daybreak. Daybreak's a little bit unique. It's actually not a city, it's a community. It just happens to be the largest master planned community in the state of Utah and has routinely been one of the top 10 master planned communities in terms of growth in the country, and it sits in the city of South Jordan. South Jordan sits just adjacent to and west of Sandy, and it tends to share a lot of the same benefits that Sandy has in terms of proximity to the city. It's also closer to the airport than Sandy is as well. And for those of us that live in Daybreak, people choose to live there. Number one, first and foremost, is because of the community. With a lake and with a really cool water course that's just being completed and miles of trails, it has become one of the absolute best destinations if you want to find a really cool vibe and find people that you can really connect with. And I'm going to be honest here for just a moment. When I first moved to Daybreak, I was really skeptical, having lived in a community just to the south in Harriman where I had a much larger home. I feel personally it took me a couple of years for it to really grow on me, and then I truly fell in love. With 2 small children and a dog, there's no place I'd rather be, with a neighborhood in the way that we have with all the parks and the swimming pools and all of the amenities that we get to enjoy. If you're considering moving here, it might be worth at least checking out and driving through to see if it's something that's appealing to you as well. And one of my favorite things about Daybreak is what's just been recently announced, and that's the development of the center of Daybreak, which is going to be known as Downtown Daybreak, and it's right along the new freeway that's being built, which is currently named the Mountain View Corridor. And right here in this downtown area of Daybreak, we're going to see tons of restaurants, probably 30 or 40 restaurants pop up, as well as office space and mixed-use development. But there's also a lot of buzz and excitement around a new baseball stadium that's currently just underway. They're building it right now as we speak, and it's going to be the new home for our local AAA baseball team, the Salt Lake Bees. And hopefully in the near future, we get a really big announcement in a Major League Baseball team coming to Salt Lake City as well. Maybe that's just just a selfish reason because I love baseball, but we'll see how that plays out. All right, next up on the list, this is actually a place that I'm going to visit here in the next 3 days. We're going to make the drive. We're going to St. George, Utah. St. George sits in the far southwest corner of the state, and it's unlike any other place in the state of Utah. St. George is a rapidly growing city. It's far outgrown any other town in southern Utah. It is definitely a city now. It is no longer a town. It's got a nice airport. It's got a nice hospital. It's got all of the amenities that you would look for. But the big draw to St. George is lifestyle. The climate there is completely different. It's much warmer. It doesn't snow hardly ever in St. George, which is why you see so many palm trees. And while there aren't any ski resorts, we replace those with some world-class golf courses, as well as very close proximity to the #1 national park in the state of Utah in terms of visitors, with over 5 million visitors per year in Zion National Park. There's also so many other cool places to see near St. George, like Snow Canyon or Sand Hollow State Park. There are so many cool things to go experience in and around St. George. If that's something you're looking for, and being away from Salt Lake City is not a problem because it's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive up to Salt Lake City, you're actually a lot closer to Las Vegas than you are to Salt Lake City. But with really good connections with their airport in St. George to hop over to Las Vegas or up to Salt Lake City, it makes it a really easy place to get in and out of. And you might ask why I'm going to St. George. I'm actually passing through St. George as well. We're going to make a stop in Vegas. We just oftentimes in the wintertime, we just want to get away for a week. It's nice to get out of the cold and out of the snow and just go experience some warm weather, and get a nice Airbnb, pay for the upcharge for the heated pool and let the kids go swimming. That's what we're doing. We're meeting up with family. It's going to be a good time. All right, let's keep things rolling. Next up on the list is Draper, Utah. Draper sits just south of Sandy, right in the Salt Lake Valley. Draper was a big farming community decades ago and has experienced most of its growth since the early to mid 90s. And right now, Draper still has a lot of vacant land that still could be developed. One thing that I really love about Draper is a lot of the properties in Draper are a higher value than the surrounding cities. In fact, it's more expensive to live in Draper than it is in Sandy because a lot of these properties are either newer or they have more land. The proximity to Corner Canyon and the South Mountain offer world-class mountain biking as well as paragliding and other things that you might be interested in. I think Draper, for me, is a really good mix of being in the suburbs, but also being still close enough to the city. You can drive right in on I-15 into the heart of the city within probably 25 minutes or so, regardless of traffic. If there's heavy traffic, it could take longer. But Draper is definitely a worthy place to check out if you're considering moving to Utah as well. All right, next up on the list, second to last city that I'm going to mention is Provo. Provo sits south of Utah. In fact, Provo and Orem are adjacent to each other, and they make up their own metropolitan area just south of Utah in Utah County. Provo is home to BYU as well as UVU, and UVU, Utah Valley University, is one of the biggest universities in terms of number of students in the entire country. But between UVU and Orem and BYU and Provo, which are really close to each other, Provo has a really good wholesome college town feel. It's not for everybody, but I think there's so many things that are offered there in Provo. A lot of people choose to make either Provo or surrounding suburbs their home. There's a lot of cool places to go see. You can drive right up the canyon and be at Sundance Ski Resort within just a matter of 20 minutes from Provo. And it's worth noting that 2/3 of all of the homes that are being built in Utah right now are being built in Utah County. So the growth forecast for the surrounding areas around Provo are really making Provo a bigger city. And it too, just like Salt Lake City, is feeling like it's starting to grow up and become an actual city itself instead of just an extension of Salt Lake City. All right, I saved the best for last. This is the place that I've been reached out to more than any other place, and that is in the northern part of Utah County lies the city of Alpine, Utah. And why are so many people interested in Alpine? I know why. I think everybody here loves Alpine, and it's pretty obvious why so many people choose to make Alpine home, despite the higher real estate costs, because it is one of the most expensive places in the state, aside from Park City. It has amazing landscapes, huge properties and homes. You'll oftentimes see the biggest homes being built in Alpine, so that might keep many of us out because it is so expensive. But the real appeal to Alpine is it's kind of tucked away in the northeastern corner of Utah Valley, and it doesn't have any major highways running through it, and it's small, and it's got its own school district, and all of these factors play into it and really make Alpine very appealing for people that want to move here. And right next to Alpine lies a beautiful canyon in American Fork Canyon. If you drive to the top of American Fork Canyon, you can do the Alpine Loop. You can drive up and over the mountains. You can drop into Heber and Midway on the other side, over on the Park City side of the mountains. But you can also make a quick trip over to Sundance Ski Resort if that's your thing as well. So there's so many cool things, both with outdoors and mountain biking with Corner Canyon and South Mountain right next to Alpine on the Draper side. If you want to live in Alpine, please reach out to me. I've had many people reaching out to me specifically about the city of Alpine. And regardless of where you're considering making a move, whether you live here in Utah already or you're choosing to move here, I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. I can give you so much guidance and resources for any of these places and more. Please hit me up in the comments. I would love it if you reached out to me through text or give me a call, send me an email. I am the person that responds to those requests, and I would love to catch up with you and see what I can do to help you make that move. And if you want to know more about life in Utah, check out this next video. And until next time, thanks.